He was born in Stettler in 1913. He had his schooling in Stettler to grade 10, finished grade 10, and then joined the Navy to support a mother and 5 brothers and sisters. And he was in the Navy for 16 years. He married 1935, 6, and immediately they were posted to Halifax.
And even at that point, he is beginning to make art.
His first works were oils. His second works were egg tempera. And to say egg tempera today, most people say, what the hell is that? The tempera colors, you know, the little powdered stuff. No, it's egg yolk mixed with pigment as a binder. And basically the filigree of a Renaissance painting of a hair is the thickness of a hair of a brush that you can do with the egg tempera.
Very little schooling, but I'll tell you, he could run the wheels off most classical people.
That he was going to be a professional artist. He was no longer in the Navy. And this is 1947, 48, that's when he left. Had to do something to support a wife and kid, went into the post office, and he was there for 10 years. And Red Deer was where he spent his last years.
He did not enjoy his job in the post office, and he did chafe at the fact that he could not work to be an artist.
He sketched all the time in the post office. He's on the till. So somebody leaning up against a counter across the hallway, writing a letter or addressing it or something, somebody in a line over here, and he's doing these quick sketches. I stacks of about 1,000 odd of these that are still around, and there'll be, some of them are in one of the collections that I have with him, a picture of his last day in the post office.
And that's where you get these wonderful portraits like the Caribou Cowboy, the portrait of a poet. The poet was a Hutterite man who had come into the post office.
30 plus wood engravings, 2 woodcuts. There's about 2,500 drawings and paintings.
Agrell-Smith was, in Canada, primarily known for his engravings. And he was practicing at a time when engraving, I mean, who engraves?
All of the prints, save 2, have a 50 edition, and they are gone. The 2 wood blocks, wood cuts blocks, were limited in terms of editions. It's carved with a knife. That's what a wood cut is cutting wood with a knife, and a gouge. A wood engraving is with a gravure, a tool. The difference between the images are the wood cut is the black line. The wood engraving is the white line. Before he bought the Vandercook press for printing, it was all hand printed. Japanese paper. Some of it was wet and put on the ink wet and then burnished with the back of a spoon. As the old masters, printmakers, did.
He says, you'd be surprised how many people scold me because they say the pictures I do of the prairies are ugly. Well, I don't agree with that. I think the prairies have their own kind of beauty, and everything in life is not beautiful. I don't believe that it should be painted dishonestly.
Fence post, which is one of my favorite paintings, pictures ever. Charcoal of a coyote over a fence post with a barbed wire, a dead coyote. And this is what happens in the rurals. They want to keep the predator away, so they hang the predator out on the wires or out on the fence post to keep the coyote away from the sheep, etc. So we've got this charcoal that was the initial picture, Then he did a dry brush watercolor, which is absolutely exquisite in terms of its, well, everything. Like the fur is, it could be like an egg tempera. Like it's the same care and attention to detail. But then he says, I'm going to do this as a wood engraving. So he's got fence post done in black and white as a wood engraving. Same image, but a different medium.
He was very satisfied with his family. That was not the object of any of his melancholy. He revered Ken, he revered Grace. They were a closely knit triad.
And the expression behind here of the reflection of a great-grandfather. This is a Renaissance drawing. That was a technique that they used on this shaped glass that reflected the images. This is done in Banff. It's a reflection not only of his great-grandfather, but it's a reflection of him and a reflection of me in the picture, a boy with a book, when I was, I don't know, 12, I guess, in the back there. The eyes are the mirror of the soul. And the human face is everything, as far as he's concerned, and quite frankly, as far as I'm concerned. It tells who you are, where you've been, what you think, what you feel, and in often cases, where you might be going. See, when any of us stand in front of a work of art, we have one responsibility, and that's to see the world through the eyes of the artist, to plant our feet squarely and say, what have you done? What are you trying to say? What's it all about?
If he had had a benefactor like some of the other artists of his day had had, his story would be quite different. We would have tons of material, and he would, I'm sure, have become one of Canada's most significant Western artists.